welcome to the Virtual Propane Expo. Today we have a special guest. It's Shane Sweet, the former executive director of the New York Propane Association. Previously to that, he was executive director of the Vermont Propane Association. He's helped build out traditional trade show venues and the things like that for the energy industry. Presently, he's consulting with companies throughout our industry and has been doing that for years, helping companies that serve our industry, companies that are in our industry, the propanes and multi-fuels industry, and helping lead them through the changes that are going on. That being said, Shane is also on the executive team for the Virtual Propane Expo, and he has interesting insights, having been in our industry with perspective and now where the industry is going. He has some insights into where is the industry going, what's going to happen inside of our industry from the perspective trade shows, associations, training, and all sorts of other areas as things have been changing, especially this year. We're grateful to have you, Shane. So, Shane, we'll hand it off to you to share with us what's going on and where you see things heading. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate the interview. You know, Bill called me in April of 2020, and I've known Bill for years, and I can't repeat this session exactly what he said, but let's just say he communicated a sense of urgency about expos and trade shows. And he said, we got to do something. And after 20, 30 minutes on the phone, we kind of had this roughed out. And I said, yeah, I'm in. Sign me up. And I know he did the same thing to Stu Flato, who's with us today, and a couple of the other guys. There were 5 of us originally on the advisory board, as we call it. And 7 months later, here we are, and we joke kind of tongue-in-cheek that we've created a monster, and we have to feed the beast. So I'm going to talk just briefly about what some of the projects that VPE has in the pipeline, no pun intended. And I'm going to start with our most recent news is we're happy to have Mary Rachel Keyser from Vermont join us. She's become part of the team here now. I think we're in our 2nd week. And she came from the industry. Her family owned a fuel company up in Vermont, both oil and propane. And she worked for a multi-state marketer of fuel in the Rutland area until about 6-8 months ago. And so we're glad to have her on board. She's going to help us develop some of the projects that we have in the pipeline, which are in various stages of development. But in no particular order, I'm going to talk about some of these projects. One of the projects that started in August was we call it the Northeast Mid-Atlantic Working Group. And this was a group, it's basically a forum of oil and propane safety professionals originally intended to be from the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. We launched this thing after some discussions earlier this year. We formally announced it, I think, at the end of July, and we had our first meeting in August. And basically, this is a forum, all online, all virtual, no phone numbers. Google Meet has been our platform so far, and we have been meeting every couple of weeks to talk about whatever safety and compliance people in the space care about. We started with basically the Northeast Mid-Atlantic, but now we have almost 60 people from oil and propane industry involved in the group. We had a call today at 2:00, and we have been talking every couple of weeks for 30 minutes, all virtual. We basically pick a topic and we cover it. We've been getting done plus or minus 30 minutes. This afternoon's call went 27 minutes. There's no cost to participate. The group is heavy retailers. There's a handful of vendors that are involved, and we welcome anybody who wants to participate. The calls have been probably averaging in the 15 to 20 range. The topics have varied. We've covered since DOT issues, OSHA. 2 weeks ago was third-party propane dispensers, and this afternoon was behavior-based safety, which is a term I'd never heard. And we invited Mike DeGiorgio, who's one of the co-founders here at VPE, who's a consultant out of northern New Jersey in the gas and propane space. He came in and he led the discussion. That group it's continuing to meet every 2 or 3 weeks. The next call is the 12th of November, if that's a Thursday, and we went 3 weeks because we didn't want to get in the middle of the election week and all the chaos that probably is going to ensue. So that meeting is, again, this group is open to anybody. We've got presidents, owners, safety and fleet managers, risk management people, corporate safety directors, to name a few. So if anybody has any interest in this, please, reach out to me through VPE, or you can send me an email, shane.sweet@shanesweetllc.org. Along the same lines, that's not on the street yet, but is in the works, is a controllers group, which is very similar in structure to the aforementioned group. And this is going to be a group, a forum, virtual, Google Meet. We're going to launch this hopefully in the next couple of days, but this is going to be really aimed at CFOs, accountants, bookkeepers, basically anyone with financial responsibilities. This is modeled on a group that has existed here in New England for at least 20 years. That group, which was referred to as the Controllers Group, really didn't have a name. That's what it was dubbed, and it's been meeting since I remember it back in the early 90s. So they've always done face-to-face meetings. So within the past couple months, I've had some discussions with people on the finance side of things, and to a man, everybody likes the idea. So we're going to launch that group here probably in the coming days. And basically, we're going to invite anybody that wants to participate. We anticipate 30-minute meetings, all virtual, and we want basically anybody that's got interest in this. And it's going to be a forum very similar to the working group that I mentioned before. VPE, the Oil Propane Safety Working Group, was founded independent of VPE. Both the groups that I mentioned are going to be, they're going to have a homepage at the VPE site, just a proverbial place to hang the hat. We're certainly open to suggestions for new groups, and I ask you to, if you have any ideas, please get with me. Next project that we have in the works is what I refer to as the e-commerce project, and this idea was born out of polling of the industry folks out there, particularly the vendor community, that they sell products, but they may not have an e-commerce platform integrated into their website. So in this development stage right now with Bill and his team and the rest of the VPE board is basically to offer an e-commerce solution for basically any good or service that propane marketers might have interest in, or that a vendor might want to sell. There'd be no money down there. It's meant, and it's going to be built to be simple and easy to onboard these items. There'll be a placement fee, which will pay VPE for its admin costs associated with hosting this. The plan is for all the money to go directly to the seller, to either their bank account or to their PayPal account. We're going to be promoting the store items. What is now, we own virtualpropanestore.com. That'll be the host domain, but it'll actually be housed on the VPE site. So we're going to give, we've got a number of options for vendor exposure in terms of sponsoring the store or the items in the works. And knock on wood, we hope to get this out the door sometime in November. Another wrinkle in the VPE idea was to expand into training. We did that this is October, so it would have been last month. And some of you may know that we've offered a cylinder inspection requalification class with Stu Flatow, who I will go to here in a second. And we also offered an 8-hour propane emergencies class. For those of you who are familiar with it, typically it's the third day of the 3-day classes that are held usually at the fire academies. But we offered that 8-hour session, and Mike DiGiorgio did that for us now a couple weeks ago. So the training we're really looking at only online training. In addition to the technical training, right now we have 2 courses on the street that are what we call soft skill classes. They're non-technical. One in the queue for November is a credit and collections class, and another is on tragedy management, crisis management. We have probably a dozen or so classes that are in the pipeline right now in various stages of deployment, some technical, some not. Our intention is to take, where we can, traditional face-to-face sessions and have them converted to a virtual format. This obviously takes some work. If you're used to having a credit and collections class that's 6 hours long face-to-face at a hotel, we don't want to punish people with a long session, so we're trying to boil this down to make it efficient and respectful use of people's time. So We are working right now. We have four educators that are associated with VPE, and we're doing a lot of outreach to trainers. The trainers that we do have are nationally known. Our intention is to record all these sessions and make them available after the fact. We have, where it's appropriate, we are generating certificates of attendance for these sessions. We're trying to make this session for the instructors. We're trying to make this easy because, you know, the video, the Zoom meetings, the Zoom sessions, GoToMeetings, et cetera, are new to some of the educators. And so we are assuring them that, you know, all you have to do is show up and do your thing. We'll take care of the tech on the backside. So one of the first offerings we did was with Stu Flato, who is here. And Stu, I'm gonna segue to you and let you talk about the cylinder requalification class and you know, how you saw that.
Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it. By way of introduction, I'm Stuart Flato. I was the Vice President of Safety and Training with Propane Education Research Council from 2000 to 2019, led the development of the industry's first e-learning program. And I could tell you that things have certainly changed in the online world from 2000 to now. Right now, if you are afraid to go online or afraid to use a computer, as you might have been 10 or 20 years ago, you certainly got out of your comfort zone because you have no choice at this point to do that. There's very little face-to-face training. But, you know, I learned in the propane industry that there are three things that propane marketers need in terms of their safety and training programs. They have to be technically correct, they have to be easy to deliver, and they've got to speak to the audience. Shane talked about a cylinder requalification inspection training program that we did. I was happy to be the instructor on that. We had about 20 attendees. It's $59. It's 3 hours. And feedback was very good. We used PERC's cylinder requalification training program, which is an excellent program. And just today, I sent all of the attendees a certificate of completion. What they do then is to have some hands-on skills training and then document that training as long, in addition to the online knowledge training, and submit their application for a written number to PHMSA. Now, there are probably thousands of people that need this type of training. And just recently, we downloaded some of the DOT penalties for those folks that are not requalifying cylinders properly. Just documentation issues could be thousands of dollars. Poor marking, thousands of dollars. Didn't check whether the cylinder was within date or without a date. Thousands of dollars. And more than that, of course, is hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in lawsuits, some fairly recent, for cylinders that were filled but shouldn't have been filled, that were implicated in fatalities. So we're trying to do something new, have some training that is quick, easy to deliver. Cylinder requalification is one. A series of safety meetings geared to your operators, technicians, bobtail drivers, plant operators. We do something on plant emergency response, CTAP, hazard communication, any number of OSHA compliances, as well as things like injury prevention, slips, trips, and falls, static electricity hazards in the industry. We'll make them quick, we'll make them affordable, and most of all, we'll make them valuable, guarantee retention of the critical information of your employees. If you ever need anything on that, please let Shane know. Shane, thanks a lot.
You're not off the hook yet, Stu. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit on my list here. One of the projects that we're working on is we're referring to it as the VPE Safety Talk Series. And this is a project that Stu will basically lead for us. And Stu, you're probably going to have to help me here if I mischaracterize this, but PERC has a syllabus and a curriculum already developed for some 46 different safety talks. We're going to use that curriculum, and Stu is going to leave online virtual sessions, which we anticipate are going to be somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes in length. He's going to take these, and we're going to pick topics starting in November, we think, and make these available for anybody who needs to get a safety talk done and more importantly needs to get it done and has some sort of documentation that it occurred, to paper their files. So we expect that we're going to have one out. Stu, what are we talking? Middle of November was the first, I think.
The middle of November. And if I can add, Shane, again, these are safety presentations that I helped develop at PERC. And, folks will say, well, geez, Stu, you're just using the PERC material. And that's true. But the fact of the matter is it's great material. And just like instructors use CTAP courses. But in terms of safety talks or safety meetings, it's really difficult to come up with something every week, every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. We want to provide that in a PowerPoint with video embedded interactive sessions for, as Shane said, 15 to 30 minutes. That will be valuable to your employees. Hopefully in the morning before they go out, you could document that information. And I promise that every safety meeting or safety talk will be relevant to what your bobtail drivers, plant operators, crane operators, technicians, what they need to do, what they experience once they go beyond the fence line. And we'll do it at a cost and at a time that will be perfect for you.
Yep, spot on, Stu. The sessions, regardless of what they are, again, we're trying to, where we can, convert traditional presentations to virtual. The instructor plays a big role in that. We're trying to build a revenue share component to the VPE partner associations, of which we have a handful, where they can see revenue from these classes. One of the projects related to training and messaging basically is what I call the video project. And we have partnered with a friend, Roger Rosenbaum, who is a video expert, for want of a better word, from the Hudson Valley. I met Roger 4 or 5 years ago when I was introduced to him by a propane marketer in the Valley, because Roger was very, very ahead of the curve when it came to drones. I still refer to him as my drone guy. But we've packaged up Roger's video services into 3 different versions, and that's out on the street. And we're going to be offering that or making it aware to the 260 some odd vendors that are listed with VPE now. Those listings are free. We seem to be adding 1 or 2 a week, and that's good. But the whole idea here is with COVID, changing, everybody has had to change their messaging strategy. I was on the horn today with a friend that's in the wholesale business who was basically telling me that he was using the lulls in the COVID curve, if you will, to make trips. And he's been out there on and off since May, I think he said, basically going where the hot spots are not. But he's been out there doing this. But he commented to me, he says, it's a crapshoot, because tomorrow, just where I live here in southern Vermont, one of the counties across the border in New Hampshire is now quarantined. You basically you can't go into that county because it's all red. So, we're looking at what's needed there. The video project is something that is going to be available to anybody that wants it, but we're going to be making the vendors for VPE aware of it first. And the services run from about $400 and up, depending on what it is you want to do. So, but that's kind of a neat new project for us. We're kind of excited about that. Another project is what I call VPE for Hire. We've been approached by a number of associations here in the U.S. about using VPE as a platform for their future conferences or trade shows. We don't have a kit per se, but we are in discussions with, I think we've got 5 or 6 of them that are talking to us. Getting back to the training, we're doing, we're going to put anything out there that we think is relevant, both soft and technical skills. Our training notices are going to hit somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 plus propane industry contacts. We're going to offer promotion opportunities for these individual classes to the vendor community or anybody that wants to get behind it. This would incorporate, your logo and so on the landing pages and actually in the recorded video. Those sessions that are recorded will end up on the VPE store, as we call it, and they'll be there indefinitely for download by anybody that's interested. Stu, you talked about the safety talk thing. I'm getting to the bottom of my list. One of the smaller projects, or not smaller, but newer projects rather, is sometime in the next couple of days, we're working with Twin Feathers, which is a hedging propane hedging and supply outfit out of the Midwest. They're putting out a 10-question survey on propane supply and hedging. We're going to hit about 10,000 industry people with that. We're going to aggregate, Twin Feathers is going to aggregate the results and publish that hopefully within a month. And they're measuring metrics relevant to propane marketers, storage, percentage of product that's protected, et cetera, et cetera. So when you see it, I hope you'll fill it out if you're a propane retailer. And in closing, we've got a handful of other projects for the site, including email to text function for the VPE booths that allow people to text your cell phone in real time. We're also looking into a couple of platforms where we can integrate live chat capability into the VPE booths. We've got a project on promotional items where we're working with a couple of our vendors to provide promotional products with logo integration, that type of thing, and make that available to basically the targeted subset of the VPE attendance database. We have a project called the 15-Minute Nugget project where we're going to offer useful, meaty content that companies would need to train for, want to train for, and provide them with a certificate of completion, much like Stewart Safety talks above, where you get a document that says you did the deed. We have worked with Tom Clark from the Rocky Mountain Propane Association. He does a podcast now heard in hundreds of cities. We intend to get with Tom and actually promote his the state of energy, I think it's called. We have an energy events calendar project. We're kind of frustrated because right now there really isn't one place where you can go and look up and see all the events that are happening in the retail fuel space. There's some people out there that are trying to do a good job, but it's only as good as the data that gets put to it. So we want to build out something that is completely self-serve. So anyone and everyone could put an event into a calendar, and hopefully with some integration to Outlook and Gmail. And last but not least on our list of projects is what we call the Access to Experts project. We're talking about a free compliance related advice forum where you can connect with VPE vendors or experts and to get questions answered that that are nagging you. So the intention is to make this available, to have it supported by the vendor community, and have it open access for everyone. If anybody has any questions, I hope that you'll get with us about VPE at any time. We'd love to hear from you. Love to have your suggestions. Love to have your feedback as to what your experience has been, what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. So, please reach out to us. I think you can hit us all at info@virtualpropaneexpo.com.
Thanks, guys. I don't see any Q&A popping up just yet, but I think that I might have heard one. So thanks for sharing what's going on. For the industry, these guys right here, Shane, Stuart, Mike DeGiorgio, really the backbone of creating this new forum, this new venue, both an online expo, a training location, a store, and much more. So we as an industry, need to continue to evolve and explore ways to reduce the costs to both marketers and vendors to make our whole industry more vibrant and make every vendor and marketer more successful. We believe that it's a right hand, left hand. There's the marketers and there's the vendors. And if we have great, healthy vendors, we get more great products that serve the marketers. If marketers are growing and healthy, then they're going to need more products from the vendors. And really, they work in tandem. We work together. And we, as a team, the marketer-vendor team, can really help our industry thrive and really be more and more successful against the likes of natural gas, electricity, and those things. So. In speaking with some of the other leading industry experts, we're all looking for ways to reduce costs for the propane industry, to make the propane industry more efficient, to make the industry more profitable, to have more gallons and more usage for propane, and to make our industry smarter, and to leverage digital technology like this to connect, learn, transact, and reduce the cost for doing so, and the time commitment too. so we can focus on continuing to thrive in all aspects of the industry. So thanks Shane. Thanks so much for going through that. Stuart, thank you so much. And
thank you, guys. Thank you, Bill.
yeah, thanks to the industry, and we'll be in touch. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.